everyone, and welcome to another episode of Autobiology with me, your host, Jennifer Littlefleck. And today I have with me Andy Hnilo, who is the founder and CEO of Alitura Naturals. That is a 100% natural skincare company. And the reason that Andy is on a biology podcast of all things is because one of the things that I love talking about is recognizing that each and every one of you are individuals. You're different, you have different biology, and I want you to explore that biology. And one of the things that Andy does so well, and one of the reasons that he is where he is today, is that he took control of his own biology after a pretty devastating accident that happened to him. And, he decided that, like I said, he was going to not let the fate of his biology rests in somebody else's hands. So welcome, Andy, to the program, to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Jennifer, thank you so much for having me. So good to run into you in Florida at the Human Upgrade Conference with Dave Asprey.
Yes.
And are you headed back this year to that?
I am. Yeah, I think it's going to be in California this year, right? Back to its original place.
That's right. Yeah, the Beverly Hilton. So,
yes. Have you ever been to the conference at that location?
Yeah. Let's see. We did it at least one year. I think it was 2019. Yeah, the year before the pandemic. So that was unbelievable. So much better. They have this little outside courtyard area where they have yoga beforehand, and you're right there on Wilshire and Beverly. Is it Wilshire? Santa Monica in Beverly Hills. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, I'm really excited. Yeah, to go there. So yeah, that's how we met. You were there, and I desperately wanted to say hello because you inspired me in a way that probably, you told me was rather shocking for you to hear, which, I'm sure that you get a lot of people that come to you and say, thank you for your skincare. But, for me, I wanted to say, thank you for sharing your story and actually your journey of starting Alitura Naturals, because I had listened to you, if you recall, over the course of a couple of years. And I think by the third podcast I had heard you being interviewed on, you had gone from having this accident, which I want to get to in a second, but to launching a whole business and really not only changing your life, but changing a bunch of people's lives. And I thought to myself, for so long I had wanted to do a biology podcast, right? And I had the equipment for 4 years and I just never started. And I remember listening to, I was gardening and I thought, God damn it, I'm doing it. If he's going to do this, I'm going to do my thing. So you literally are one of the impetus for my show and for everything. So I just want to say thanks for, paving the way for all of us creatives to do our thing.
Oh, if I could play a small part, that's all you, but if I could play a small part and, motivating you to follow your dreams and do things that you clearly love. I mean, you're bubbling, and your energy is amazing. So if I could play a small part in motivating you to do this and continue to help others, but within your podcast, man, thank you for sharing that with me. I mean, I love what I do, and I never thought I'd be in the skincare industry, but I can't imagine now, living life differently.
Yes.
I wouldn't where I'm at for a major league career, movie star career, wouldn't trade this where I'm at for anything. But
that's a perfect setup, actually. So you were a former athlete, you were a model, you were an actor, and then in March of 2011, what happened?
Oh man! So I was leaving dinner, crossing Melrose. Cross street was Sierra Bonita. I just left a place called Snake Pit, and I got hit by a westbound. Looking down at my phone, going across the street to meet up with my Lyft driver, just to go home. And I got hit by a westbound heading vehicle, hitting the eastbound lane, run over by an eastbound heading vehicle. Both cars pulled over, close cut off me in the middle of the street. I'm coming in and out of consciousness. And I woke up at a Cedars-Sinai ICU bed with my chin protruding to the bottom of my mouth, 7 broken ribs, a collapsed lung, and on a morphine trip trying to figure out what happened, and quickly found out the severity of the situation. And yeah, that's combined with the loopiness and the giddiness that the morphine does to you, I was just a whirlwind of emotion, just trying to figure out what you're going to, where you're at, what you're going to do. I'm in the ICU, where my parents, like, what's going on? It's a very scary moment. But luckily I had a couple friends with me in the room that, once they heard me kind of like coming to, I started, it was loopy on the drip, and I just started talking. My jaw was broken from the middle of my chin to just beneath my left ear. So, in order to piece those particles back, wasn't supposed to talk. And so, the resident maxillofacial surgeon, Dr. Rosenberg at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, couldn't do the surgery. So we had to search for like a private specialist for the mandible fracture. And we found Dr. Joseph Brugiardi, who put me back together, titanium plate up top, one on the bottom. And my ribs but that was probably the most excruciating part of this, aside from the mental stuff that I battled daily. But I mean, you change that and switch that around by reframing with perspective, right? I'm alive, and people don't survive accidents like that. So I was in a weird way kind of excited. I don't know if that was my body's response to the physical trauma that I went through, but I was like, my ankles, knees, elbows, shoulders were all intact, so I could walk. I mean, my teeth were gone, my jaw was wired shut. So like every time I smiled, I kind of tried to hide a moment, which really, like, when you're going through a feeling of euphoria, it's really sad to have to mitigate that, because you're embarrassed on, people seeing that you don't have any teeth. So it's been a wild, beautiful ride though. I mean, I had my family with me, in a little 660 square foot apartment, all of us together for the first time in a long time. I mean, because my sisters have their husbands' families to go visit during the holidays and things like that. But we were every one of us in my family, we're all together underneath that roof, just showing so much love. And I just, like, in a weird way, it was beautiful, like, to have us all together. And I needed that love at that point. But when they left, it was time to go to work. And, just, I put together just a plan of getting circulation going by going through walks. And then with the clay mask, that's a whole other special, beautiful story that hasn't left, it's still going.
Yeah, I love hearing about your family. I know your family is really important to you. You include them in a lot of stuff and a lot of promotions with Alatora, and your family, I know, is your rock. You've talked about them, in the past before, just, and you love making your mom proud of you. I know that.
Yeah.
So after they did leave, I mean, what is it that made you say, I'm not just going to lay here and feel sorry for myself, but I'm going to figure out how to heal my face. I'm going to figure out how to make myself look, if not just as good as I did, before the accident, but maybe even better. Like, how does that even come into your mind? Like, how did you even begin to get started?
I took it as a challenge. I mean, I really did. I mean, what happened was I was told that I would never be back in the industry that I loved. I don't like people telling me what I can or can't do. So I really, that was very early on, hearing from people like, oh man, feel sorry for you, like, which I appreciate, but also at the same time, as a competitor, like, I don't like people telling me what I can't do. And so I also, on top of that, internally, I really deeply wanted to get back to my old self and better than I was before. Just setting a goal, right? Working towards it, and then hopefully knocking it down is what I've done my entire life, really, with athletics, with anything. I'm a very, very driven individual, highly motivated, and have big goals for myself. And so when that's put on hold, there's a little adrenaline going, all right, we got another, I can't really, it's a very good question. I just know how I was feeling, and I know how I attacked it, just with like adrenaline, just very like, all right, put together a plan. I had a pre-existing Alatura clay mask. Well, it was never Alatura. It was never even supposed to be anything. It was just something that I would do every Sunday before my week of auditions, when I was in the entertainment industry. So like when I went home, couldn't afford the creams and serums that my doctors were recommending that I use. So I did isolate that's how I isolated a few active ingredients that I currently use in products. But then I've always been just a grab and turn guy. I mean, ever since I was in college, trying to grow into my body, I've been very focused on labels and ingredients. And, back then I was very skinny. So I just was trying to put on weight. And, it's protein, fat, calories. And that's all I wanted. Just the most, that's back. I remember drinking weight gainer, but what that did is it also kind of created a lot of, disruption to my cells, because that's not clean. And those aren't clean formulas, clean ingredients. And I was eating a lot of dorm food when I first got into, I was in college. But then, slowly I started breaking out. My back acne was really bad. And I just became very, it's just one by one, year over year, I became very passionate with what I was putting into and onto my body. And it normally came down to ingredients of the products that I was using, and the food, supplements, and things I was consuming. And so tightening that up, yeah, it's just always been there. But after the accident, I just really focused in, that was back when I was 18, just focusing in on, what I was putting onto my body. And obviously 12 years later, it had grown, but it became an obsession. When you're at home trying to put yourself back together, is like basically my own science experiment.
Oh my God, I love that you said that. That's how I look at myself too. And I hear you with about, not letting people limit you. I don't know, I always thought that was the Scorpio in me. I don't know. I'm a November baby. So, oh, really? When's your birthday?
November 20th.
I'm the 19th.
No way. Are you
We're almost birthday twins.
Nice.
I got a few years on you though.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm old enough to be 41. Oh, wow. You don't look it, and that's honest.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, I like talking about my age because, I'm 47 and I will be 48 this year. So I got 6 more months before before I have to celebrate. But when you learn at such a young age about what goes into your body makes a difference on your skin. I think, like you said, like it's hard to not know that. It's, at first I think it's, you hear all the time, don't eat this, don't eat that. But until it starts really affecting you or you see the results, it doesn't really sink in. And for me, that happened when I was in college as well, kind of similar to you. I had horrible acne. And no matter what I did, like, I just remember when I was 14, I didn't leave the house for 2 weeks because I had such horrible breakouts. And at that time, no, like everybody said, oh, it doesn't really matter what you eat. Do you remember that? I mean, dermatologists would come out and say, what you eat does not affect your acne. It's just your hormones. And then,
Reckless.
and then all of this, research started coming out saying, yeah, what you eat absolutely affects your skin. So like I said, so getting back to, so you knew this from a young age, which is kind of rare, to be honest with you, especially as an athlete. But so you're putting this together, right? So what did you eat? Because you mentioned your jaw's wired shut. Mm-hmm. And, but you're supposed to eat clean, but you're a big guy, right? So, how do you get all those calories? What did you do?
It was very tough. Obviously with the jaw wired shut, I went around and met with George Lamoureux from Jing Herbs, Ron Teagarden from Dragon Herbs, Crosby Ware, Truth Calkins, Sage Dammers. Just with my jaw wired shut, guys are just picking their brains on trying to get together. It ultimately ended up being my morning tonic, which I do every single day since I developed that. But I'm talking spirulina, deer placenta, bison liver, egg yolks, Hoshawusha, Zondra, Gynostemma, ashwagandha, a blend of amino acids, creatine. It was just, everything had a purpose in there to build my blood, get that blood circulating, and just excrete impurities from my, x-rays that I was going through, releasing some of the heavy metals topically through the clay mask, which really helped with that. I had a CT scan and I was getting monthly x-rays to see how the bone was growing back. So I didn't like that I was just, I'm very aware of like the radiation element of that, getting, intense imagery done like that is, over time can add up. So I'm aware of that. That was difficult. The antibiotics, getting that out of my system was something that was very important to me as well. And then feeding that gut bacteria with really good probiotics and building that gut activity back and being aware of that in my conversations with the herbalists and just the different naturopaths that I met with, and just constructing something liquid that, that I was going to put through, blend up, and then get it through a little straw in the back corner of my mouth where there's a little crevice so I could fit it. And I did that every single day, but it definitely didn't taste good. I actually lost 17 pounds and I was pretty lean to begin with. So I wasn't getting my calories in. And when I got the wires off, believe me, I really, even though it was soft food and my bite was all off, I just remember pulling over to this meter, put the little flash on. I had a little goat cheese and I was like, just doing, tasted so good. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed gaining that weight back for sure. But yeah, it was just a time that I took as a big time challenge. And also it was very interesting too, because, you're seeing yourself, you're feeling yourself. Yeah. You're seeing and feeling yourself recover. I mean, noticeably. 3 weeks later, I picked up a friend of mine from the airport who'd seen me in the ICU, and she was completely blown away. And I needed that, like a legitimate double take of like, well, okay, what do you do? I just saw you. What did you do? What did you? I was like, thank you. I mean, I have this like, I was hesitant, and I told her about the clay mask that was just one by one getting built at that time. Rasul clay, a little kaolin clay, eyelite, bentonite, and then one by one started adding. I think I had kelp and ascorbic acid from my previous blend that I was doing every Sunday night, but then the pearl powder, the things that I was consuming and putting into that tonic, I would experiment topically on my skin. Your skin being your largest organ, you want to treat it like another mouth. I mean, it just made sense to me. A lot of things didn't work. I would spot treat certain places, behind the ear, patch test certain areas. And then also coming down to the particle size, seeing if it would blend seamlessly with my existing ingredients from that Sunday night clay mask. Well, that Sunday night clay mask turned into like just a routine, part of my routine to start my day. I had music, push-ups, I was doing my tonic. It was just part. And then, when the sun would go down, so the scars wouldn't, or the sun wouldn't bake in my scarring, I would do my walk, come back, and I would meditate. I just had a very specific routine that I did daily by myself. And when silence and solitude, and, will really increase motivation when, especially when you see, you're starting to see your efforts provide results. And yeah, it's, oh man, I could go on and on and on. It's just a beautiful ride that it's led to a lot.
So your friend picks you up from the airport and they're like, holy cow, what are you doing?
Yeah.
At what point did people start saying, can you share this with me? Can you make me
a
mask? Like how long before that started?
That's well, that was Christina. And I went over to her place and mixed one up for her, and got a little too wordy on the ingredients. She had a friend over, and bottle of apple cider vinegar, a little bamboo bowl, backpack, and then just going. I had this huge wooden mixing spoon. I was explaining all the intricacies of the ingredients and what it does, just geeking out, right? And then mixed it up, took off, and then because I would do that after. I mean, they loved it, but they didn't like the smell. And I was like, I know. It's what I did. I was like, man, it's got to be apple cider vinegar, and then the kelp. But so what I did is I dialed back the kelp, and then dialed it back again. Because kelp, I mean, the vitamin A, C, K, B12, sodium alginate. I mean, it's amazing full spectrum blue-green algae. So I just know I knew I had to have that in there, wanted it in there. I mean, and then I would see and feel the benefits of just what it was doing in my healing process. And it became like this, like, I don't know, it was just the mask. Hey, I need the mask. Like, I need this. And it was so fun that people I didn't even know, like friends of friends, I was driving all around LA, just getting feedback. And it was just making a meal for someone, I mean, I never thought it would ever be a product, but I wanted to know if other people felt the same way in its performance, because it's mind blowing. It's my, I mean, I really feel like it's the most effective single use skincare product on the market, period, like over the counter. You know what I mean? I think it could compete with a lot of spa level treatments as well worldwide. I mean, as far as a single use treatment, noticeably different. Like, yeah, I've never seen anything, and I've tried a lot, as effective as that. And I know what's in it, so it makes sense. But it just, yeah, for about a year and a half just doing that. I was trying to get back in the entertainment industry, right? So I was back. I was on the runway first week of June. Yeah, so just a couple months later, I didn't tell
That
my
is crazy. That happened in March and you were on the runway in June.
yeah. And I had a shirt. Yeah, it was fine. They couldn't tell. And then I didn't know that was, they had a shirtless scene, and I had a wrap around my lower back, like road rash scar from one of the points of impact. So they definitely found out. I mean, it was a gnarly gash that is, it's kind of healed now since then, but yeah, it was fine. I was back, accomplished it. Like, luckily, I mean, I wasn't fine, but I mean, I got the wires out that Thursday, teeth whitened that Friday. And then well, teeth bonded and whitened that Friday, and then the runway show was that Saturday. Mom was there. It was pretty cool in San Jose, California. Yeah, I just didn't tell my San Francisco agent. I made that like an outside goal to make that job, you know, and that's it. I did. So it was just good to be back and doing something that other people, people told me I wouldn't be doing. And so that's like that initial momentum, that the victory that keeps you going towards the next one. And then all the while, I mean, I wouldn't have, the Alatur, clay mask had a lot to do with that, which is getting back and feeling good, getting my zest back. So yeah, but just through beta testing, that's what I call it, but just through the year, little over a year, close to a year and a half, all I would do is just ask for some feedback. And if they loved it, if they didn't, that was fine too. A lot of they said, yeah, it was like, oh, the redness. I mean, the influx of microcirculation is intense, as you know, but, and then the scent, but I mean, that's how you adjust, you dial it in, you take what you want, you leave the rest, but also you definitely respect the opinion, because that's what, leads to adjusting, tinkering away and perfecting your formulas. So in doing that, I would also ask for a picture as well that I could post on social media to kind of like just show that I was kind of, just my little thing. I was also back, but I was also like, the reason why I'm back is because of this thing I'm making, which as a, it's kind of different as a guy. And also people didn't know that I was into skincare and things like that. And I was starting to share every day, like what I was doing is just part of my routine. And back then Facebook didn't have the algorithm where it was like cutting out, where you only saw 10% of the 10% of the people saw the post. Everybody was seeing my lives. Everybody was seeing, and they were part of it, and I didn't even know anything about algorithms. I was just sharing that I'm back, like I'm starting to get my zest back. And I had a lot of people, that were just so supportive and encouraging during that time. And I needed it, still do. Absolutely. We all do. And I just, yeah, it's just one of my friends owned a med spa in San Diego. And she reached out and said, I want to try this mask. And I went, all right. So I just drove down. She loved it. She experimented on a few of her clients. They loved it too. And then she brought it on board as a mineral rich, nutrient dense clay mask, and no name, nothing, like, like 3 treatments for $495 or whatever, which was really cool. I was like, man, people are paying for this. All right. And so, but shortly after that, I had reached out to Dave Asprey from Bulletproof, wanting to work for Bulletproof. And so I troubleshooted his email address to the contact form. It was info@Bulletproof Exec. And so I was like, well, his name's Dave Asprey, and D.Asprey, David.Asprey.
Dude, I love you totally hacked his email.
Yeah, I did. One of them went through. One of them, someone got back to me. I think his EA got back to me and brought me on board as a Bulletproof ambassador, which was great because I could barely afford the products. And so I take pictures with the products and basically explain. I mean, I really wanted to work for Bulletproof though. I mean, I really appreciated Dave's attention to detail and just his purity of ingredients in his products. I'd found out about Bulletproof through a former teammate of mine, John Baker. And I love Dave's attention to detail and ingredients. And I was just very similar, you know what I mean? In my recovery and just in purity and telling a story behind everything that you're putting into your body. I was doing that. And like, it even felt kind of like, uncomfortable at times. And then I started realizing, I'm like, dude, this is my life. This is my passion. And then, having this thing, my clay mask being taken on board. I'm like, man, that momentum slowly started to move towards my purpose, where I'm at right now. And then Dave had me on shortly after going down to San Diego. He had me on his Bulletproof Radio podcast, and that's when everything really took off, So
Yeah, that's how I found you. That's how I heard about your story initially. So I think one of the awesome things about your products is they are 100% natural. And in my opinion, that's why they're so effective. And I don't think that people appreciate how toxic a lot of skincare products actually are that are on the market, even really popular skincare products. And I pay attention to that a lot because I don't know if you have ever had this done. Have you had your 360 profile done from the DNA company with Cash?
No, I haven't. No. Have you?
Oh, yeah, I have. And in fact, I did a whole podcast with him, and you have to watch it because it is life changing. In fact, I think on YouTube I have the whole video posted, but basically he did my 360 profile, which is a functional genomics test that tells you, pretty much everything that you need to know about how to take care of your own body. And and I love it because like that is autobiology, is understand your own biology so that you can take care of yourself. And one of the things that he told me, which I had kind of suspected, but I didn't have a reason why. And for me, it's always about the why. Mm-hmm. But I just couldn't handle like hardly anything. Like alcohol did weird things to me. When I would take medications, instead of making me better, they would make me sicker. I couldn't even use household cleaning products without gloves, without a massive, like my skin would start peeling off, and I couldn't figure out like what is up. Wow. And when he did my profile, and he read it live on the air, like, so it was kind of fun because I didn't really know what he was going to say, but he was like, Jennifer, you are missing not you have the bad version of, you literally do not have 2 out of the 3 genes required to detox chemicals from your body. You don't have them. So whereas most people, the glutathione would attach to the toxin and it would take it to your liver, and your liver would, do its thing, detoxify it, and then you would flush it out of your system. He was like, you don't do that. Like it literally recirculates until it finds some other way to get out of your body. And in the meantime, you're sick. You're very sick. Oh, wow. And I had no idea, so not only was that things I was ingesting, but it was topical things that would go through my skin that I had no idea that were making me sicker. And, but he went through all kinds of just amazing things that you would never understand, but, unless you had this analysis done, but it made so much sense to me. And it just so underscored the importance of paying attention to literally every single thing that I put on my skin, that I eat, that I drink. I literally stopped drinking alcohol after that podcast because I realized what was happening, internally. And I just hit 6 months of, I loved white wine. I loved my pumpkin beers, like in October. So that was hard for me. But once I realized, like, it was literally, when you can't detoxify, that is chronic disease. That is dementia over time. That is all of these things. So getting back to, Alitora Naturals, when I realize that your product line is it's 100% natural. And not only is it 100% natural, but you take a lot of care, like Dave Asprey does with his products, sourcing them from, very, very reputable places in the world. So they're super fresh, they're free of mold, you package them, during a very specific freshness time, you do a lot of these things that for somebody like me, and by the way, I am not an anomaly. Cash, said there's a lot of people like this. And so when I started researching this after that podcast, it's around 38 to 40% of the population is just like me. We do not have these detox genes. Can you believe that?
That's unbelievable. I mean, that's how they what are the actions? So the detox gene is what it's called.
Yeah,
That's
they're the glutathione S transferase genes. So, and like I said, there's a few of them, but there's three main ones that they look at in their reports that they have identified are, just the main, in general detox genes. But here's like something super fun too to know is like not all chemicals are detoxified, by those, particular enzymes.
Mhm.
So there are specific enzymes that, for example, detoxify statins. And they look at that particular gene. And I also have the worst version of that gene. So if I were to have cardiovascular issues and somebody put me on a statin, I would get sicker. I would have all of the horrible side effects that they see in clinical trials. That would be me. But until you know this stuff about yourself, like
Yeah.
how would you even know, you know how really to take care of yourself internally, and but you could guess, by things that you've noticed about yourself, so like you said, in your younger years, you noticed that you had this, outbreak of acne and things just weren't going well. And you knew intrinsically you had to
Yeah.
change something. And that's why you started studying food and being into skincare. So I think we all know, but I think, that's again, that's something people don't really understand is the toxicity of ingredients in their skincare products is a big deal.
Wow. I didn't know the extent of your story. As far as, dealing with an enzyme that you just don't have in your genealogy. I mean, I'm sorry to hear that, but I mean, geez, I mean, sharing your story is going to really, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, everybody who hears that that's thought provoking. It's scary. You start to wonder about like, seriously, I want to know, if I have that. I don't really have any reactions to the things that I eat, but I don't know, maybe subconsciously I just power through it. So, I mean, so that's 360. It's so Cash, what's his last name?
Kashif Khan from the DNA company. You know what? I'll text you later. I'll send you the
Yeah.
link, direct link.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's very valuable. Seriously. I mean, keep sharing that. That's that's something I just wasn't aware of. And a lot of, like you said, 38 to 40% are people having that. Man, you can help a lot of people.
Yeah, I think too with the skin stuff is what we're finding is when you're somebody like me, right? You have this inherent gut toxicity because you can't clear these toxins. And where do they show up? They show up in your skin,
Mm-hmm.
just like you said. And that's so one fun fact that I learned about skin is hey, so do you know those like cherry angiomas, that people get, there's like the red moles.
Oh, yeah.
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 So if you try and Google, why do I have these red moles or cherry angiomas or what they're called, pretty much there's no explanation for them. Most dermatologists don't understand why they're there. You can get them removed, you can get them taken off. But I noticed like when I was in my 20s that I started like getting a lot of them. Like I would have more of the red ones than like the brown ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't understand why that was. And what I realized through learning about all this stuff is that when your body cannot detox things, again, goes any place that it can. And so for me, it was through the skin. So that was why I had all those skin issues. And your body tunnels up blood vessels to the surface of the skin to get rid of it. And those are cherry angiomas. Isn't that crazy? But most people don't actually know that. And that's kind of like a relatively, I want to say, new thought process on how that occurs because we didn't understand the microbiome. We didn't understand, toxicity. And I think like I said again, that's just so important to have the kind of skincare products that you make.
Yeah. I mean, geez, that's fascinating to me. Like, I mean, you hear that the skin is the largest detox organ. I'm just trying to picture. I mean, it's like the body's trying to rid the toxins and impurities from the system, and then so like the vessels all conversion to one area, and then they lump up, and then that's what creates that toxic filled cherry angioma.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, yeah. I mean, now I'm starting to think of like how many. It's so common. I've seen that
I
so
know.
often. I mean, geez, knock on wood. I don't have any, but man, yeah. It's also well, I do have this little birthmark. I'm just wondering, but I've always had that. So who knows? Maybe that could be something too. I mean, you see, moles and things of that nature. I don't know. But that would make sense though. It's your body's attempt to excrete the impurities from the system. And then coming from a blood vessel standpoint, I'm just thinking about niacin right now, my sauna detoxing. And I'm like, how would I do that? And I'm like, because I do a
Yeah.
lot of niacin, a lot of sauna work, and masks almost every day. So I'm trying to, figure out. I mean, I'm sure that's really helped in that process, but man, that's valuable information.
Yeah, I love that you brought up niacin. So I'm a huge niacin fan. I have a whole podcast on niacin. I think I talk to people about using that to use cholesterol problems. But have you ever overdosed on niacin, like just straight?
Ooh, no,
I have, man.
felt like it. I mean, I felt like it was coming on the verge. I mean, I don't want to say a bad niacin experience. But the worst one I had, I mean, I worked my way up to the milligrams that I take. I take a lot, but you got to be careful. So I don't
Yes,
want
you have to go slow and yeah.
But the biggest thing for me is just because what I'll do is I'll do the cold, hot, cold, hot, cold.
Yeah.
And the one time I didn't do the hot to replenish, like and warm up the system, because that seriously, depending on how hard you go and how cold you go, I mean, my system broke into the biggest, itchiest rash for a little bit. And that was for a while, for like at least hour, 2 hours for the evening, but I couldn't figure it out. So I took a warm shower, heated up the system, got the body temperature back up. I think that had something to help with it. But that may have been a little overdose or whatever, or reaction from that. But what have you?
Oh yeah. I jump up too high occasionally, and it's like you can feel it coming on, and I think I should probably take a video sometime of when I know it's coming. But it starts like at my ears, and then it just works its way down, and like I turn into Violet from Willy Wonka. I look like a blueberry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. It's funny.
You do feel it in like the lobes of your
ears. Yeah, that's where you feel it first. Yeah.
That's fascinating though. There's something with niacin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it expands the blood vessels and it gets that circulation.
But it's like also.
But it does so many other things.
I know it does so many other things.
So many precursors to so many other, chemicals.
NAD, niacinamide. Niacinamide's in our meteorite scrub, by the way.
Wait, when are you releasing the meteorite scrub?
Hey, it's unbelievable to me. The formula is been done for now 2 years. It's the tube. I don't want to put it in a plastic tube. So and also I'm very specific with my designs, and I know what I want, and I'm just dealing with a lag, and because there's only a couple places where you can find this sugarcane tube, and getting the colors, trying to communicate with designers exactly what I'm weird as far as my specifics. But I just got the most recent tube. Well, it's in the mail. I can't wait to see that. It'll probably be here in a week. I plan on signing off on that. I've seen pictures. I just hope it's perfect. Because I'm just not going to settle. I've waited this long. I'm not going to. The formula is done, and it's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Okay, so let me just tell you. Can I just tell you what it does for me? So I told you I had skin issues. So I have large pores, and I use a lot of different scrubs. I've tried a lot of different scrubs because when you have large pores, everybody's pores clog. That's why we have to exfoliate. That's why it's just part of desquamation, which is the turnover of skin, right? So
what's that? Desquat. I love it. Is that a new word I got to add to the desquamation?
Desquamation.
Hold on.
Yeah,
DESQUAMA.
yeah, because your skin cells are like squamous cells. So
That's brilliant, by the way. No, really. Thank you for that. Like, I'd never heard that term.
yeah, so it's turnover of your skin cells.
Yeah.
So but every time I use the volcanic scrub, is that what you're still calling it?
No, it's a meteorite scrub.
Meteorite. Okay.
That's meteorite powder and volcanic little lava rock in there.
Okay.
Oh man, I need that to be released.
Okay.
So what were you saying? Oh, sorry.
So when I use it, and like I said, I use a lot of scrubs. This never happens with any other scrub. You literally cannot see my pores at all after your scrub. And at first I thought it was a fluke, because I was doing some other things, because I'm super into regenerative skincare. So I look into regenerative products and procedures all the time. And so like I had a CO2, laser done on my face, trying to get off some of that scarring, from my early 20s. And I thought, well, maybe that's, part of it, but that wasn't it. Like, trial after trial after trial. Anytime I would use that, it literally my pores disappeared. And I've never seen that. And I have huge pores, like you can see them. And even my one girl that was working on my face, she was just like, wow, this is like, your skin looks amazing. What are you doing? And when somebody asks you that, right, you're like, well, let me tell you.
Yeah. Especially, yeah.
But I only had this like little like container from when I saw you in September of last year. And I like, dude, I milked that thing for all it was worth. Like I had it, so by the end it was like so diluted. I was like, I don't even know if like I'm doing anything at this point. But that's why I said to you yesterday, I'm like, can we please, like, when is this coming? I need this.
Hey, I'll send you a couple jars right now. And thank you for making my day. I cannot say enough about that product. I mean, I want 2018, I went on an East Coast press tour. I met with like, I think it was Vogue. I think it was Vogue or Cosmopolitan magazine that had a best skincare product ever made on Vintner's Daughter's serum. Angela, she's awesome. And it's a very good serum. I think this may be, this has a chance to have a similar article written on it. I mean, my manufacturer works for my chemist, in their whole lab, works for the biggest skincare products. They make, I could say this, I think, Image Skincare, and like they work with they say that's the best product they've ever made about the health. I mean, it's
amazing. It is
yeah.
amazing.
I mean, it has lactic acid, fulvic acid, hyaluronic acid, as far as like just a base to really naturally let your body regenerate during the desquamation cell turnover process. But while it's creating a thicker collagen layer, especially if you do the whole routine with the derma roller once or twice a week, you're not going to need to do this that much, but it polishes and refines pore at a different level, like
different level.
And I mean, I look forward because I like to take a couple of days off in between using that. And today is my day, and I didn't get a chance to mask up before this podcast, but I mean, right after this, you better believe I'm going to be mixing that up. It's just something I look forward to. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's just, that's a special project project and product to me that I started in like 2015. Just putting like the idea together, you know what I mean? And then started like giving a revision. I think it was 2016, 17. So I'm really, really just, chomping at the bit to get this released. It's very, cause I have never lost excitement towards this product, but man, there was just so like, I need this to be released as soon as possible. So like the patient says it, as a business owner, formulator, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it, it's difficult when you have an absolute home run that you want to share with everybody. And like that, I live for the product releases, and I haven't released, one, and I'm not going to include my little mask. Since Santal Black, I think it was. So, I mean, yeah, it's been a while, but the thing is, I have 5 in the works right now that are about 70, 80% done, and the
Wow.
meteorite is finished. So it's
That's
just,
cool.
yeah.
That's cool. You know, when I had my CO2 laser done, I had asked them why do we have large pores? Why can't we get rid of them? And they educated me on the fact that, when you have acne, when have bad skin initially, there's actually scarring that's inside the pore. And that's what keeps it open. That's why it can't close. So when I was trying to think about what was different about the meteorite scrub versus other products, I thought it has to have something to do with helping to either decrease that scarring, lessen that scarring, clearing out the scar tissue. It must be doing something with that scar tissue. And like I said, I don't know, but I just know from, how it's been explained to me, what's keeping those pores open, what keeps them so large is the scarring. Maybe it's a combination of, rebuilding to the collagen around the skin. It's, helping in some way, but, so
or exfoliating, not harshly, but at a cellular level over time, getting, removing layer after layer, getting to the bottom of that scar tissue in that pore, that, you know what I mean? That's what exfoliation, and also at a cellular level with mandelic acid too. I mean, it's that's theoretically, in my mind, I think that's a large reason why that can explain, the minimization of your pores. It's all theory right now, but I'm kind of like going through that in my head. And I'd never even thought about that, but it does make sense, especially if you get some type of acne that was irritated or picked at. I could understand that pore now being damaged, but the whole point of that is cleansing, keeping that pore cleansed, and then exfoliating over time. I feel like that could help with minimizing that pore and just area in general. But yeah, I'm glad it's working out for you, and I can't wait to get that in the store. It's gonna be a very very
so I know we're ran a little over time here, but I kind of want to just ask you just a couple of closing questions. I'm curious from your point of view, because a lot has changed since you started Alashore Naturals. We've become a lot more savvy about the role of the microbiome. You even do have a vitamin supplement that you included in your line, which I love because it does have all of those, it hits on all those different, those different supplements that intrinsically influence your skin through your gut, right? And I'm just curious, like what was probably the biggest surprise when you started getting into, the official skincare business, like, that you learned, like what was most surprising to you?
How much we stood out. I mean, seriously, how the collective response. I mean, cause I got told no for a year and a half, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I'm like, all right, I went 28 out of 28 are the first, when I knew how to import my reviews on Yotpo, a review system, all 28 were 5-star and like had thick paragraphs. I'm getting goosebumps right now. Saying amazing things. And like, it's, yeah, I mean, that was very, very, it's a feeling I can't describe. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just everybody out there. It's just, I mean, don't listen to other people's opinions, follow your heart, stay true to yourself. If you believe something, stay close to that feeling, that emotion. And if it keeps coming back to you, follow that. It's like, I just never thought I'd be in this position, and definitely never thought I'd be into skincare. Now I just can't imagine being anywhere else. It's all I do every single day. And it's like, but I wouldn't trade that for the world. As far as, yeah, I mean, but it's just like an unending, never ending just interest and curiosity of seeking what else can we do for Alatura? What else what part of the lifestyle movement with, biohacking, supplements, nutrition. I'm obsessed with that too. It's not only skincare, it's all encompassing with purity, activity, movement, and an effort to just, be our best selves and be happy, you know what I mean? And connect with others. That's what I'm all about. So, I just, to answer your question, that was like, it was a really interesting just being told no. I was so just curious. You don't know when you release that, are people going to love it? I just needed them to like, and then you release something else with that, which, led to the moisturizer, and you maintain that mission of purity of ingredients and ingredient integrity. And then you share that. It's just, I just can't, I don't know. The biggest surprising thing is how much we stand out with in the cosmetic industry, and staying the course is just our job from here on out, and building on that as we get better. The products are going to get, better as well. So I just, I love what I do. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like, moving forward, looking ahead, what is it that you're really looking to accomplish, in the future? I know you said you have a couple more products coming out, but like, what's kind of your vision here, for the long term?
To build a team around me. Last year was very tough. We did very well, but I worked very hard. You know what I mean? And I just really want to, I want to live a long life, healthy life, and a healthy and happy life. I want to travel. I want to be around my parents right now. I want to help them as they get older. That's going to take some time, and just trusted team underneath me to allow me to do that, and just come from a creative space, not just the in the weeds, nitty gritty, tedious business detail. I really need to build a team right now, badly. So, it's been a one.
It's tough. I do this, just as a side hobby, it's hard. It's a lot of work. And when you have a full-time gig like I do, medical writing, it's hard to find people to help you, because I think one of the greatest things you can do is recognize your strengths and recognize what somebody else can do for you better. So
Delegating.
yes, delegating. So if you ever need some article writing or medical writing,
I was just about to ask you.
You can tap me for that.
I was just about that. Let's talk. No, I'm serious. We need like an awesome writer. That would be so fun too, especially tightening up the. Let's definitely talk about that.
Awesome.
And to your family, don't you got a big you have a big responsibility. You're probably
do. I know. I think you can see my and and my husband, I've gotten him into the whole, like, he uses skincare products now. He pays attention. Like, I got him into biohacking. I started, it took me a while, but I finally got like everybody in. But I got to get my kids more hacked. They're 9 and 12, and the sugar thing is just killing us. So
the smart sweets. Do you know what those are? Like
yes. They are so delicious.
Hey, those are unbelievable. I can't have them around here, but it's a nice alternative for them. You know what I mean?
It is. You know why I like them is because they are low sugar, but they're super high in fiber.
I know.
It's like crazy amount of fiber in this.
Yeah, the inulin, I think it is. And so like technically I'm fine on that the next day, but like I can't, they're so good. I just can't have them around. Or if I just buy them individually, but sometimes I buy the cases from Amazon. I'm just like, I'll take that case out tonight. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah. It's a good, like after swimming snack, Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. But anyway, Andy, gosh, so awesome talking to you. This interview has been a long time coming. I think like the first time we were scheduled, I think in the same week, you ended up having like dental work, and I caught COVID like in the same week.
Yeah.
And we had to reschedule. So this has been months and months in the works. So
Hey, and I'm very grateful to be here. It was even better than I imagined. I imagined it was going to be awesome too. And I want to give a discount to your following if
Oh
they like.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you know what? My bad. Before we do that, how can people find you? How can they find Alitura products? What's your handles?
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm on Instagram at Alitura Naturals. That's Alitura Naturals. And then I'm Andy Nilo. My last name's Hnilo. I love what I do. Happy to answer any questions on our products. And yeah, our website is Alitura, which is Latin for feeding and nourishing, and alitura.com. So yeah, I love what I do. I appreciate you having me on. This is what this is all about. Geez, you just continue to share your story as you are. I didn't know that, but it's thought provoking just to look into our internal biology and just figure out how to optimize.
Yep.
This is going to help a lot of people. And
Yeah, yeah. What's good for you is not necessarily good for me, and vice versa. So, but yeah. So, Andy, everyone was kind enough to give my audience a discount code. So, we're going to use the discount code autobiology.
yeah,
Yeah. So I will put all of this in the show notes. You can definitely check it out. But Andy has tons of great products. We didn't even talk about the gold serum, which is like, oh my gosh, is like it's the gold standard, honestly, of right after the clay mask, it's the gold serum, of course. So
good.
but yeah, definitely check that out. So all right. Well, thank you so much, Andy. You have a wonderful afternoon, and go get your mask on.
Yeah, I definitely will. Thanks for having me, Jennifer.
All right. Thank you.